the East Los Angeles area now, Bob and Marla. No question, and whenever the pursuit enters the freeways, they are made aware, and they will help out however they can, even halting traffic, prohibiting traffic from getting on and off the freeway as the pursuits make their way east and westbound on the freeways, or north and south in this case, which was the 710 freeways. Staying kind of to the right here, and again, not a high rate of speed, generally 35, 45 miles an hour, making a northbound run here. I'm going to try to get you an exact location here in just a moment. We'll see a street sign here for you, but he had a couple of options to get back on the 710 and the 5 freeway, and he is choosing to stay on surface streets, now approaching the East Los Angeles area. And now into East LA, eastbound at Atlantic, just passing Goodridge now, and you can count the units behind. Again, the lead unit, Bell Gardens, because we believe that's where this alleged auto theft occurred. This U-Haul pickup truck, and as you see on the advertisement, $19.95 an hour. Too pricey, obviously, if it is true that the occupants of this vehicle took off in this car without paying. And again, from what location, it's unclear. It may have been a U-Haul yard, or it may have been a different location where this vehicle ended up after being rented. Again, more of a slow speed pursuit now. He's driving rather cautiously, perhaps communicating with someone at this time. We often see that the drivers have cell phones and are talking to friends, relatives, maybe looking for a quick escape. And in doing so, again, they do try to stay in areas that they are familiar with. But he's made his way, or she, a couple miles to the north now of where this pursuit started in Bell Gardens, and is continuing in an eastward direction now on Atlantic, coming away from where the 5 and the 710 meet. Yeah, unclear at this time. And again, those contents may have been from the individuals who legally rented the vehicle. That's unclear at this time as well. Again, eastbound on Atlantic, coming out of East LA. The last major was Goodridge, and driving 30 miles an hour perhaps, coming up on another intersection. And he doesn't have a stoplight here, or actually he does, but it was green there. But really slowing it down. And again, we did hear he was traveling at a higher rate, or she was traveling at a higher rate of speed down the 710 freeway from Bell Gardens down into Paramount and Compton, exiting the freeway at Atlantic. The two occupants made their way both east and westbound on Rosecrans, and then back to the north on Garfield, back into Bell Gardens, and then picked up Eastern and now Atlantic, and taking Atlantic eastbound out of East LA, now heading into the community of Montebello. Just through something else. The spike strip was just deployed, we believe, and we did see some debris shoot from the side. At first, I thought that may have been some debris that one of the occupants threw out the window, but hey, that was something else. If they were able to get ahead, that is a benefit of the agencies. When the pursuits slow down, they are able to get ahead of it and perhaps throw that strip out, especially if the individuals being pursued stay on a major thoroughfare like this, like Atlantic, for some time. They can get ahead of it, throw that strip out, and we are hearing that the right front tire is disabled. We'll try to get on that side of the vehicle and check it out, and perhaps that's why we are seeing reduced speeds as well. We're getting a better look inside the car here. You can see slightly tinted windows. There's the luggage that you had mentioned, Marla, in the bed of the truck. Again, it's unclear if those bags belong to the individuals who allegedly stole the pickup truck or to the people who legally rented it. That's what we're hearing on the scanner. Our assignment desk is tracking this as well. They're hearing the police traffic, the police scanner traffic from Bell Gardens, from the LA County Sheriff's Department. And again, the LA County Sheriff's Department is helping out with a helicopter. So we'll push in a little bit here more and see exactly if we can find out if we can see any damage to the tire. Yeah, there it is right there. Yeah. Almost down to the rim there. That's exactly right. Yeah, we've seen these go, believe it or not. Usually that's the case, but we've seen these go at times, these pursuits, where they're driving on the rim and the sparks are coming up off the tire. We'll see how long this one can go. And again, it's unclear. This pursuit now has been going close to 40 minutes, and unclear on how much gasoline it had in the tank when the two individuals allegedly lifted this truck from the community of Bell Gardens. And Bell Gardens continues to be the lead agency on this. So a badly damaged front right tire there you could see on our picture here. This U-Haul truck allegedly stolen in Bell Gardens and moving at a really slow pace now, and likely because that front right tire is disabled. Yeah, coming out of Montebello now, southbound, still in the community of Montebello, back towards the 5 freeway. And again, even though this car is disabled, they feel that they may have a better handle on it. She's not going to be able to make her way 80, 90 miles an hour down surface streets or freeways anymore. You just don't know who you're dealing with, and that's the situation that these officers have to deal with constantly. Anybody who's as brazen to steal anything, including a vehicle down below here, they may be armed, they may be very dangerous, they could be felons. That's unclear at this time, but they don't know what they're dealing with, and in so they have to play this out cautiously. And you can see all the units trailing a suspect, female driver and a male occupant passenger, 2 inside the cab of this pickup truck, allegedly stolen. And this big rig was almost going to make a left turn in front of him, but he thought otherwise. An industrial area here, making a southbound trek back down towards the 5 freeway. We'll try to get you a better location here coming out of Montebello towards the 5. Well, now that the vehicle is moving at such a slow rate of speed, and it is on surface streets, and if they find a surface street where the volume is relatively light, they can try to do a pit maneuver. That would be real easy at this point, especially with a pickup truck like this. Just knock the back end of it, spin it out, and make it, disable it even more and make it face the wrong way, and then officers can approach. But again, that's dangerous. Every move is dangerous here because you just don't know who you're dealing with. The suspects down below there, if they're armed, how dangerous they are, and if they're willing to run from police, they're willing to do much more serious crimes as well. So this is a situation right here. You can see the wide open volume. There's not much in the way of foot traffic here. This is an industrial area. We're not seeing any schools nearby. If they're able to pull off that pit maneuver, this might be a location where they can do it. They've been very successful with that spike strip, deploying it on a surface street and disabling that right front tire. Slauson. And now on Telegraph, by the Commerce Casino. And heading northbound now on Telegraph by the Commerce Casino, coming up by the Commerce Outlets. We all know this neighborhood very well, adjacent to the 5 freeway. He's at a light now, a lot of congestion. She's trying to make her way through this interchange. Telegraph parallels Interstate 5 on the east side of the freeway. In fact, a lot of people take this as an alternate to the very busy Golden State Freeway. So heading northbound on the 5, right on the border now of Pico Rivera and Downey, heading north into Commerce here. So you could see very slow speeds, again, likely because of that tire being disabled. She had the opportunity to hop on the 5 there. She chose not to, but she's continuing northbound on the 5 here, heading into Commerce here, up back towards East LA and the 710. Now let's look to see if that other front tire is disabled. It doesn't appear to be so at this time, but it's just that front right tire that is almost down to the rim. The other 3 tires look to be intact at this time. Window partially rolled down there. You know, what's going through the minds of the suspects, the female driver and the male occupant, that's unclear at this time. But they run because they can. They don't want to go to jail, and they feel that there is a chance that they can get away. LAPD statistics show that about 18% do. A lot of those, however, are able to get away because LAPD will pull back because of the danger to the public. Well, widen out, and here it is. Here's the Commerce outlets coming up the Citadel here, the big bow and the Christmas tree still there as we come out of the holiday season. We push back down to Telegraph Road down below here in Commerce. This pursuit moving at a much slower pace than it was earlier because of the fact that that front right tire was disabled by that spike strip. Yeah, no question. They could get one of their SUVs up here and just tap one of the back ends of the truck bed and spin it out. We've seen those pit maneuvers, but definitely a heavier vehicle. It's not a light compact car that would easily spin in the event of a successful pit maneuver. We'll widen out a little bit, see what she's going to do here. Still traveling northbound on Telegraph Road by the Citadel, the Commerce Casino. There's options to get back on the 5 freeway. I think she's choosing not to, at least at this point, being that the car is so disabled. You can see people coming out in the parking lot there, checking it out. There's an LA County fire paramedic parked off to the right shoulder, and we are seeing police units. Again, now that this pursuit is moving at such a slower rate of speed, Bob and Marla, that really gives the upper hand to officers because they can position up ahead. They can plan accordingly. They're not dealing with a dramatic high-speed pursuit, an erratic driver at this time because this vehicle is just disabled. Looks like she's going to make an eastbound turn here, and we'll get a better look now of that right front tire and how badly, down to there. That's what I'm talking about right there, see? They can keep going. You think that sometimes up they're going to be done, but not the case. You can see some sparks, a little smoke flying up there, but just the one tire is disabled at this time. And she's continuing on her merry way in this 1995 an hour U-Haul truck allegedly stolen out of the community of Bell Gardens. Not nearby. This is an industrial area. In fact, there's a FedEx facility right down below here. She's making her way eastbound. And at this point, I think that she's just doing whatever she can to stay away from being arrested and evading police at this time. But this is moving at a snail's pace now compared to some speeds we heard earlier. More people coming out to check out the scene, video what's going on, which is not a good idea. Again, you just don't know what you're dealing with. We've seen dramatic situations like this in the past, Bob and Marla, where the suspects, knowing that their car has been disabled, they jump out and then they try to carjack another vehicle, and that meaning that they're armed or they use bodily blunt force to get the driver of another vehicle out so they can pick up a pursuit in a car that's got 4 good tires and perhaps a full tank of gasoline. Not seeing that at this time. She's just making her way eastbound now, coming out of Commerce now, back towards Montebello, now making a left or northbound turn on a surface street here. So it's going to be interesting. She's going to be running out of options here, and in these neighborhoods there are a lot of dead ends, and a dead end in a situation like this would likely mean a dead end to the pursuit as well, being that this vehicle is so disabled. The maneuverability has been compromised somewhat as well. You can see now there's a kind of a mixed area down below, a couple of homes, apartment buildings mixed in with some industrial facilities and commerce as well. Northbound on this surface street, and you can see some people out there checking it out again, moving maybe at 15 miles an hour up this small surface street northbound coming into Montebello. That's right. And coming off Olympic, that was a major that she was on with her male occupant eastbound. And now, again, northbound on a surface street. Back into a residential area. People are coming out to check this out. We've publicized these pursuits so much in the media, and people like to get a close-up look if they do make their way through their neighborhood. Well, she actually did make her way across that stop sign without stopping, so that is another infraction that she can be written up for if officers choose to do so. But she's dealing with failure to yield, essentially running from police, the law. She's facing a bunch of charges, including allegedly stealing that U-Haul. Yeah, exactly right. We've been saying 2 occupants, female driver, a male passenger there. That's what we're hearing at this point. And again, this U-Haul truck allegedly stolen in the community of Bell Gardens. Even able to make a left, but look, she leaves that mark behind, that little scrape in the asphalt there. That's because she's down to the rims. Kids out on their bikes. Not all schools are back in session. There's a little dangerous situation right there, making a quick right onto Whittier Boulevard there. And you could see an individual in a wheelchair there, a mobilized wheelchair there, making her way across the intersection. And some construction coming up. This stretch of roadway is down to just 1 lane in each direction here. Eastbound, though, is her direction at this point. Back towards the East LA, Monterey Park, Montebello area now here in Southern California. Again, she's had several options to get back on the freeway since we've picked this pursuit up, and she has chosen to stay on surface streets. Again, a lot of that now, I believe, is because that front right tire is so disabled. Down to the rim of this U-Haul pickup truck. Not at all. Erratically. And when they do stop, as we've seen so many times, that doesn't necessarily mean the situation comes to an end. The pursuit may stop, the vehicle may stop. A lot of times the suspect or suspects choose not to get out. They choose not to do what officers tell them to do, and then it turns into a barricade situation inside the vehicle. We'll see what happens here, but whenever you're dealing with someone who allegedly is under the influence, you could see all those LA County Sheriff's deputies down below. They're helping out. The CHP was helping out, in addition to the lead agency, the Bell Gardens Police Department. Now heading right back, there you go, the sign says it, back into Montebello. You think so. And again, each agency is different, and the lead agency is the agency that runs the show. So they may have a different policy than, say, the LAPD or the Torrance Police Department. You just don't know exactly how they're going to deal with it. They may know, as we're finding out, a little bit more information about the suspect or suspects, and they handle the situation accordingly. From us up above and from you down below watching the pictures, you would think it'd be an easy end. Just wait for an open roadway, try a little pit maneuver, spin them out, pull them out of the vehicle, and take them into custody. It's not that easy because you just, in certain situations, don't know what you're dealing with. Again, they may know the individual. They may know they're convicted felons. They may know that they've had situations with firearms before. And if that's the case, they're going to handle it a little differently. There's a tremendous police turnout for this pursuit. That is for sure from our vantage point. An LA County Sheriff's helicopter circling overhead. Bell Gardens Police down below. They're the lead agency. And again, we have the CHP down below and other agencies as well. As the pursuit makes its way into different communities, if those communities have their own police department, they will get involved as well. And all of that is coordinated through a dispatch center, which we're listening to. They're on one specific frequency, so they can all communicate, all be on the same page, how they handle the situation down below. Oh, collision! And we saw that coming. We saw that coming. Another pickup truck. And let's see if that car, well, it's still on. That's, wow, unbelievable. Through the red light, collided with that pickup truck. Now driving against traffic here. Let's continue to follow this vehicle, the U-Haul truck, allegedly stolen. And down to the rim. That rim is not even spinning now. So the maneuverability is going to be really challenging. We'll widen out a little bit because this could be a situation crossing California Street by the Walgreens down below here in Montebello. And now another intersection as well. Wow, this is going to continue on. No question. And that's exactly right. Montebello just entered the community of Montebello just a few blocks prior to that collision on Whittier Boulevard, heading towards the community of Whittier. Again, that rim's not even moving, leaving a scrape in the asphalt down behind. And that Bell Gardens police unit down below is keeping a safe distance. You can see officers are positioned ahead now right there to prevent an accident from happening. And they're able to do that because, like I've said, they have the upper hand and that the pursuit has slowed down considerably because that vehicle is disabled. First by the successful use of the spike strip. Second by that collision. Hopefully the driver and any occupants inside that pickup truck are okay. And fortunately, the pickup truck, that U-Haul, wasn't going 70, 80 miles an hour at the time and was going more like 15 or 20 miles an hour. Needless to say, that could still cause some damage and injury to the occupants of that other vehicle. That is something else. That rim is just grinding down there, heading eastbound on Whittier Boulevard, but she continues on here. And this is a situation because you see the sparks. You got to worry about a spark igniting the gas tank. I mean, this could turn into something much more serious, at least for the female driver and the male occupant of this vehicle. No. Absolutely not. Possibly under the influence, as you guys have heard. Again, lots of scanner traffic about the individual, the suspect, just sliding along there eastbound here on Whittier Boulevard, coming out of Montebello, heading towards Whittier at this time. Let's widen out just a little bit. Yeah, windows open there. There's an LA County Sheriff's helicopter circling overhead, and not much traffic up ahead at this point. 15 miles an hour at best. People coming out of these mini malls here along Whittier Boulevard here. These palm trees lining the streets. This is a small town feel, this community of Montebello, and people are seeing this in their hometown community. Some yes, some no. Yeah, some yes, some no. So they're trying to get up ahead of it, but again, they have to position themselves too in case they make a north or southbound run. But at this time, especially with that front right wheel in the condition that it is, it may not be very easy to make a left or right turn. That straight up might be the easiest way. Okay, we're going to try to get around this tree here the best we can. It looks like coming to a stop here. On Whittier Boulevard, coming out of Montebello towards Whittier. And it appears that both doors are still shut at this time, but the car has come to a stop. and he's checking his backpack. He's getting his belongings together, but they can hear the police right now. They have bullhorns on. Yeah. You're absolutely right, because then you see we have a great view of the passenger, the male passenger, and he's fidgeting around, grabbing it, on the floorboard there. It looks like he has a backpack or some sort of bag of some sort that he's been reaching into and out of. And officers, that's not what they want to see in a situation like this. Hands up. We want to see what you're doing. We want you to open up the vehicle door, and we want you to step out back to us with your hands up and listen to us and obey us. Otherwise, this could end in a bad way. It could end in an officer-involved shooting. Unfortunately, we've seen situations like that. Every single one that I've ever covered are situations where the suspect or suspects are given orders, specific orders to give up, and they don't. These two individuals have been given strict orders at this time what to do, and they are not listening to officers. And when that occurs, that opens the door for something to happen. They are not, and they've been given orders many times. You can see officers even at the dealership there. We'll pan the camera a little bit to the right and see if they push that crowd back. Not really. You could see individuals, the workers at that Chevy dealership here on Whittier Boulevard, backed off a little bit, but officers right there next to them in the front of those vehicles, in front of those Chevys, with guns drawn, right at the front of that cab there. Again, a female driver, a male passenger here, possibly under the influence, at least the driver. That's what we heard. This U-Haul truck allegedly stolen out of Bell Gardens. This pursuit made its way southbound down the 710 all the way into Compton towards Paramount, then back up to the north, up Eastern Avenue, back towards the 710 freeway, then through Montebello, and now eastbound on Whittier Boulevard. And that's where this pursuit, at least the vehicle portion of the pursuit, has come to an end. Not a Code 4 situation. Two suspects are still outstanding. They're not doing what they've been told at this time. They've been given strict orders a number of times, and they're choosing not to get out of the vehicle. They're staying inside the cab of that U-Haul pickup truck. There could be it could be either way at this time. They may just have decided to bring it to an end, because look at that rim right there. I mean, it's down. It's no longer in exactly. It's amazing that it was able to go so long. And look, he's still going inside that duffel bag. Officers have to expect the worst, fear the worst, that there could be a weapon in there. What is he doing? All right, well, he threw that out. There you go. So it's okay. Bags and backpacks out. So maybe they've looks like something else, some small thing. Looks like she's discarding some things as well. But the protocol is for them to get out. If they get out and the officers see that they're holding something, then they'll tell the suspects to discard whatever they're holding. This is a bit unusual, in that they're going through all their belongings here. And what is he doing? Does he need to clear it for something and then throw it out? I mean, all this is going to be evidence. I mean, this is where this will end. likely. I mean, there's really no way. And as many of us know, if you are under the influence a little bit, you've had a couple of beverages. We don't know how many these individuals may have allegedly had. You don't always act in your right mind, some of us, and these individuals obviously are not doing what they're told. Bottom line, they ran from police. They ran because they thought they could get away. They stole a vehicle allegedly in the first place. Needing a vehicle of this caliber, or maybe it was just a car of convenience that they saw in their neighborhood. And again, it's unclear if this was stolen from a U-Haul facility or actually from residents. Maybe somebody was moving something from point A to point B, and it was stolen at that location. We just don't know at this time. We saw at least one accident. We heard a very erratic driving early on in the pursuit down through the Bell Gardens area into Compton, driving on sidewalks. And then the car being disabled. And once it was disabled, the speeds were really reduced down to 15, 20 miles an hour. And there you go. You can see officers. BG, that's down for Bell Gardens. They're still the lead on this. And they have the guns drawn at the back of this U-Haul truck. And they've been given instructions to the female driver and the male passenger to get out. And I'm just surprised that the employees and perhaps the visitors of the Chevrolet deal are still allowed to be so close. Right behind that officer next to that yellow. And we brought up the point of how agencies handle this differently. And I've seen some agencies, this would have been over. They would have went up right to the cab of this pickup truck and pulled those occupants out. Bam, done. That's happened a number of times. There are certain agencies that do that. Others sit and wait it out. It just depends on the police agency that is the lead on the pursuit and the suspect or suspects that they're dealing with and what they potentially know about those individuals. You're exactly right, and that's why we may, be seeing the situation down below where they just aren't giving up. They throw the bags out, but that doesn't mean what was in that bag isn't right there on the floorboard of that U-Haul truck, and that's what they have to assume. Nope, definitely erratic here, definitely unique here. This U-Haul truck being pursued across a handful of cities here across the basin, generally along the 710 freeway, primarily through the Bell Gardens area, the area where this pursuit first started. But now it's made its way to its farthest east point, which is in the eastern portion of Montebello, near Whittier here on Whittier Boulevard, near the Chevy dealership, right across the street from it. Absolutely. I mean, they're communicating. The captain is alerting the officers on how they're going to deal with it if they're just going to wait it out at this point. And we've seen situations like this that go on for hours. We've seen freeways being shut down for hours at the termination of pursuits, where the vehicular portion of the pursuit stops, but the individual or individuals inside the vehicle just don't give up. They stay inside the car, and they believe they're armed, and traffic is at a standstill. And I'm going to try to get a little bit more intel right now because we are hearing something from the LA County Sheriff's helicopter, so stand by for that. And I, and we just got the information. This is straight from the LA County Sheriff's helicopter. The LA County Sheriff's Department and Bell Gardens Police Department are in touch with the sister of the driver of this allegedly stolen U-Haul pickup truck. They're communicating with her, and she has alerted the officers and the deputy sheriffs that both her, the female driver, and the male occupant both suffer from mental illness and possibly are under the influence at this time. That is why they're acting so erratically, and that's why the positions that we're seeing right now with the officers and why they're holding off. And we are also hearing now that they're going to bring in, that's right, they're going to bring in the Bearcat, that big armored vehicle that we see so often from the LA County Sheriff's Department. The SWAT team will be down here, and they're going to use that vehicle as well to bring this hopefully to a safe conclusion. So a little bit more information now that does make more sense in terms of what we're seeing from up here. Absolutely. Yeah, and it could be a long-term one. This could be a very long-term one, guys, on Whittier Boulevard. Obviously, Whittier Boulevard completely shut down. You can use Beverly as an alternate. Both sides, east and westbound, coming in and out of Whittier, in and out of Montebello, will be closed for some time here as they deal with this situation. So hopefully it'll come to a peaceful end. The driver, the female driver, and the male occupant there will get out of the vehicle, hands up, and this will come to a peaceful end. But at this situation, we're going to be in a stalemate, long-term standoff possibly. And they are pushing people back to a safer distance here. We are seeing that by officers, people being pushed back half a block or so. And they may bring in a crisis negotiator as well, being that there is time now. They do have time on their side. We've seen that in the past as well, to try to get these two individuals to safely surrender and bring this to a peaceful conclusion. But this, again, could be a long-term situation. LA County Sheriff's helicopter circling overhead. And this is a situation, too, and this has been very controversial. We saw one of the first drones being deployed by a law enforcement agency. That was the Redondo Beach Police Department at the termination of a pursuit that did turn into a situation like this where the driver just didn't want to give up. His car was disabled, spun out off the road, and he still didn't want to give up. And they brought in the drone, and they got that drone right up against the windshield of that vehicle and were able to survey the vehicle enough so that they felt that they could go in and grab that guy and not have to worry about him having a weapon at that point and opening fire. There's a K-9 unit there now as well. So this would be a situation where a drone would be useful. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure if there is communication available inside the cab of that U-Haul, I'm sure that they've tried that already, because whenever you have a suspect who's led police on pursuits like this, sometimes hearing from a relative, a spouse, a mother, a father, talking some common sense into them sometimes does help bring situations like this to a peaceful conclusion. So if that is the case, and there is a cell phone inside this vehicle, I'm sure that has been discussed, if not already happened at this point. Yes, it is. That's right. No, it's going to need a little bit of work. Yeah. And you see the 1995, these rentals are so popular. And again, it's unclear where this vehicle was allegedly stolen from. We know it was in Bell Gardens, in the community of Bell Gardens. That's why Bell Gardens is the lead agency. And you see their police units right up against the back end of this pickup truck, that whether or not it was stolen just from a residential area, commercial area, or from a U-Haul facility, we just don't know at this time. All we know now is from the LA County Sheriff's Department. We definitely know there's a female driver, a male occupant, both possibly with some sort of mental illness, and both possibly under the influence. And communication has been made with the female driver's sister. That's all we know. We know that Bearcat, an armored vehicle on the way, a special weapons team on the way here to deal with this, to box that vehicle in perhaps, to get right up against it and hopefully force these two out, but force them out in a peaceful way. The Sheriff's Department was, the Sheriff's Department was talking to the driver's sister. It's unclear if there's been any communication made between either of the occupants, the female driver, the male occupant, and anybody on the outside. That's unclear at this time, but we do know, obviously, the sister of the driver of this vehicle knew that this car was stolen, because you can't just automatically assume that your sibling's driving this vehicle unless she was able to get just close enough of a picture, a media picture, to determine such. So she knew that this vehicle was allegedly stolen by her sister, and then gave that information to the Bell Gardens Police Department and the LA County Sheriff's Department. Yeah, just as a precaution at this time, and again, they're taking their time. They're dealing with this in such a way now that they do know a little bit more about the occupants. And that's what we said earlier. Each situation is handled differently. We see agencies handle things differently. And regardless of if they know who they're dealing with, sometimes agencies act with more force. They go after it. They've already endangered, these people have already endangered the public, and they want to bring this to an end and bring these a suspect or suspects into custody. And we've seen that often. We've seen situations like this too, where they know a little bit more information about the individuals, and they're going to handle it more gingerly. And that's what we have here in front of the Chevy dealer in Montebello, here on Whittier Boulevard. Whittier Boulevard, east and westbound, completely shut down here. Yeah, it looks like it, and we just got a little bit more information. The passenger on parole for stealing another vehicle. So there you go. We know a little bit more. So a felon, obviously, and stole another vehicle here, or was an accomplice to grand theft auto here in the community of Montebello. The rim, it was dramatic. and the longer that they don't give up, again, the mentality of some of these individuals, we do now know that the male passenger is on parole for auto theft. So, no question, he's going back to jail. He's going back to jail. As a parolee, you have to abide by very strict rules, and one of which is not to be a repeater in your crime. And certainly, he's been an accomplice to that. So he's going back to jail. She's racked up a number of violations, including allegedly stealing this vehicle. So both, they're waiting it out. And again, we've heard that possibly both are suffering from some sort of mental illness, maybe under the influence as well. All of that coming into play here. And they're choosing just to stay inside that cab and out of handcuffs at this point. Here comes the armored vehicle. So, that's such a good question, Marla and Bob, in that, you see a situation like this, and then you assume it's going to be this long-term standoff, and then for whatever reason, the individuals just open the door and they give themselves up, or